Occasionally, I hear people say things like, jazz is improvised music, or it can't be jazz if you're reading from a chart. Maybe that's something you've heard, or even said yourself. But is it true? Chicago record guru Dave Bock recently shared an exciting discovery with me, an alternate take of Cab Calloway's band playing Happy Feet in 1930. Now, I've long treasured the master take of this recording, as it features a clarinet solo from the marvellously mercurial William Thornton Blue. He's the kind of player who always sounds like he's only just getting away with some amazing feat of ad-lib risk-taking. The first thing I did when I got the alternate take was listen to the new clarinet solo. I wanted to compare and contrast it with the one I already knew. Let's have a listen to each one. First, here's the solo from the master take. And here's the solo from the alternate take. Did they sound more similar or more different to you? On my first listening, I thought they sounded quite different, but in transcribing them, I discovered that they were more similar than I had at first realized. Let's look at them side by side. Both solos begin with those repeated high Cs, as if sounding a fanfare to announce William Thornton Blue has arrived, before heading downwards to some repeated mid-range As and then trailing down further. Then we have similar phrases leading into and through the next 4 bars too. Often similar phrases like this fall under a player's fingers well. Note how they are placed in the bar slightly differently, not necessarily taking place on the same beat. More similarities as we get to bar 12, and even phrases that don't contain the same notes often contain similar ideas. Have a look at bar 14 for instance, where we have a sawtooth pattern that sees the G's raised to G sharp and then to A. As we reach the halfway mark in these solos, on the top line Blue launches up an A minor arpeggio into the altissimo register, hitting top A 3 times. A few beats later, on the bottom line, he does the exact same thing. Each take moves downwards gradually from there, following similar patterns. There are fewer similarities in the final bars of the solos, but the phrases with which Blue finishes his solos are very close, although again rhythmically different. What have we learned from this revelation that William Thornton Blue played similar solos on consecutive takes? Is this proof that he is suddenly not a jazz musician? Of course not. In fact, this is exactly what we would expect to find. Musicians regularly played similar or even identical solos on recording sessions. We must be careful when we decide what we think this proves. There were, and are, very good reasons for so-called routining of jazz solos, reasons of both creativity and practicality. Musicians often treated feature solos as compositions to be perfected. Louis Armstrong is the perfect example of this. It's possible to trace the development of some of his solos in the 1950s by listening to various live recordings in chronological order. Some musicians who attended consecutive concerts at that time expressed disappointment in this method, but Armstrong was attempting to shape and perfect his solo in the context of his overall performance. Once he got it right as he saw it, why wouldn't he keep it that way? Coleman Hawkins is another who retained his solos over time. His classic recording of Body and Soul was worked up prior to its recording in a similar manner. Other solos feel like part of an arrangement or composition, regardless of the musician performing them. Most trombonists in the 1920s imitated George Bruni's trombone solo on Tin Roof Blues, for instance, and Cootie Williams adopted the growl elements of fellow trumpeter Bubba Miley's style so that he could fit into the Duke Ellington band more successfully. Jelly Roll Morton wrote out much of his Red Hot Peppers records for the musicians to read in order to have his musical ideas more fully realized. Other reasons for routining solos revolve around the practicalities of recording. Recording studios are pressure cooker environments where everyone is depending on each other to get it right. Musicians, engineers, producers, everyone. Musicians usually opt for solos they know will work, because if a musician messes up an improvised solo, it costs time and money. Or even worse, the producers might just shrug and release the take with your messed up solo on it. Now, it's not my intention to argue with anyone who believes that jazz must be improvised. But if that is your definition, you might have to take it up with Louis Armstrong, Jelly Roll Morton, Duke Ellington, and Coleman Hawkins. What about William Thornton Blue? Well, both his solos sound glorious to me, and the similarities between them, far from lessening him as an artist, cast a brighter light on the musical choices he was making.
Happy feet, give them a low down beat and then begin dancing. I've got those 10 little tip-tap toes. When they hear a tune I can't control, my dancing heels to save my soul. Weary blues can't get into my shoes because my shoes refuse to ever grow weary. I keep cheerful all